I've been wondering if I told my story. I think that God has been wanting me to share my story because I have one. and I'm going back and forth about whether or not God is really leading me to do this or not. But maybe it might help some people. I don't know. But I feel like at this point, what have I got to lose? And most of the time when I think God is speaking to me about something, I'm usually right. So I think I might be right about this, but it's that initial like, oh my God, okay, all right, Lord, you're calling me to do this, so I have to do it and not worry about the other side of it, what might come of it, people knowing all your business, or judgment, or I don't know, rejection. Or I thought about having to protect my kids, and not that anything that I have to say is just like outrageous, but you just never know. But I'm gonna trust God. I'm gonna trust God. And so I think I need to maybe create an outline so everything can be in chronological order. But it's so interesting. Today was a rough day, and I asked myself, where did it all start? Where did it all start? Because I feel like I'm working really hard to what I would call break cycles and break family patterns and generational patterns, and we call generational curses, or just things that have been like really repetitive in my family and my bloodline. And so I've just gotten to the point where, and I said this a long time ago, when I started noticing things, it's just like, okay, what am I gonna do about it to change it? That's what I started asking myself. And so I thought that, the way to change generational patterns is to make different choices and make different decisions. And so that's what I said. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to make different decisions. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I don't know why I ever thought that doing something like this would be really easy. I guess because I was naive to the process. Like, saying that you're going to break a generational pattern is not an easy thing. It is hard. It is hard. But I feel like if you feel like you've been chosen to do so, then you have to do it, because the life and the health of your children, if you have children, your children and your children's children and your ancestors and the people, that came before you, but more so the people that's coming after you, your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids, their lives really depend on it. Their lives depend on it. It's so crazy how generational patterns really keep us bound. They bind us up. And it's whether it's mindsets, and most often things start with what we think, what we believe, because those things shape our habits and our lifestyles and how we navigate life and how we move and orchestrate and the decisions that we make. And this stuff is real. It's deep rooted, and it's also spiritual. There's a spiritual component. If you think about it, if families stay in turmoil, if families stay in bondage, if there's no real freedom, if nobody says, you know what, I'm going to be the one, I'm going to be the David, I'm going to be the warrior, I'm going to be the one who is going to fight the good fight of faith and try to break this thing so that things can look different. If nobody does that, then can you imagine how long the cycles will repeat? And I don't know about y'all, but I've seen some families who are really bound up. and just patterns of abuse, patterns of drug abuse, patterns of addiction, patterns of depression, patterns of loneliness, patterns of narcissistic behavior. I mean, patterns of lack of unity and people trying. I mean, there's just all kind of things that people struggle with within their family systems. And, you know, we know that all families have issues. So that's not, you know, this is not a thing to, you know, like make people feel bad. But I don't know, if you're trying to obtain freedom, somebody's going to feel some kind of way about something, okay? And I just have to say, if you feel like you are being led to be the one to say no more, the buck stops here, then you have to, I'm telling you, you're going to have to find the strength and the courage within you, some kind of way to walk that walk, to walk the path. It's a narrow path. You're going to have to lean on God. You're going to have to get with God. You're going to just have to make it up in your mind that you're going to do this no matter how difficult or how lonely the road gets, because it's not an easy path and the road gets lonely. But God is saying, for such a time as this, I am calling the one, the chosen ones, to answer the call so that people in general can be healed, set free, delivered, and so that families can become free. Because we are the ones that we are waiting for. And so I feel like when we say yes, saying yes means that God is going to be with us and he's going to give us a plan and a blueprint. I feel like to a certain degree, because we're not always going to know which way to go, which, you know, but God, you know, God shows up. We're not going to always know what to do and how to start. Excuse me. But I feel like it's so necessary. It's so necessary. It's so necessary. And so I'm saying to you, you can do it. And I'm saying to myself that I can do it. And we're going to start this journey. So welcome to my YouTube channel, Soul Messages from Heaven. And so I don't know what these messages are going to look like. I know that they're going to come from my heart, and I know that I'm called as a prophet or a prophetess, a messenger of God. So I feel like anything that I get is from heaven. Any guidance, any wisdom, anything that comes out of my mouth, because I walk a close walk with God, I feel like it's a message from heaven, a message from God. And so welcome. Welcome to the journey. And I don't know what this is going to completely look like, but I'm trusting God. And I just said, God, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and just tell me what to do. Give me the words to say. I'm going to show up. And so here I am. So welcome. Stay tuned for more Soul Messages from Heaven.